In this episode of OC Unsolved, we dive into the disappearance of the SS Pacific, a 2,700 gross ton record holding ship that disappeared in the Atlantic Ocean with all on board lost. Unlike most cases we talk about, there is barely any evidence. But if you're a fan of the message in the bottle trope, then you'll be pleasantly surprised. So, what caused this? And what did the message say? Let's get into it. The SS Pacific was launched on February 1st, 1849, by Brown and Bell Shipyard in New York City. For decades, American sailing ships had dominated the transatlantic routes across the Atlantic. However, with the advent of steamships and the new Cunard Line, the British had taken over the role of the reliable steam packet services between America and Europe. In 1847, Congress granted a large subsidiary to the New York and Liverpool United States Mail Steamship Company, that's a mouthful, to compete with Cunard. To facilitate this, 4 ships were ordered, and a new line was established, known as the Collins Line. 4 new ships were added, ships that were specifically designed to provide the most reliable comfort possible. Built with white oak and yellow pine for the hull, the SS Pacific had a straight bow with 3 masts containing sails just in case, as well as a flat deck with 2 single-story cabins, one fore, one aft. She also donned the paint scheme of the Collins Line. She had 2 side-mounted paddle wheels, driving her at a speed of 13 knots. She was 85 meters long and 13 meters wide. The passenger accommodations were generous and spacious, and the cabins and saloons were elaborately decorated. The ship could initially accommodate 200 first-class passengers. In 1851, accommodations for an additional 80 second-class passengers were added. The ship's high freeboard and straight stems also contributed to passenger comfort by providing added protection from spray and steadier motion through the waves than typical passenger ships of the period. The SS Pacific made her maiden voyage from Liverpool to New York City in May 1850. On September 11, 1849, and September 21st, the SS Pacific crossed from New York to Liverpool at a speed of 12.46 knots, breaking the previous record and earning the blue ribbon as the fastest ship to cross the Atlantic. Less than a year later, another Collins Line ship, Baltic, made the same journey faster and secured America's place as the transatlantic leader, beating the Cunard liner RMS Canada. But, again, the record would only stand for a few months before being taken by the other sister ship, Arctic. In March 1853, she rescued the crew of the sailing ship Jessie Stevens as it sank. In fact, this photo, which is the most famous illustration of the ship, was taken of the rescue. In May 1853, while the Pacific was passing under an open swing near Norwalk, Connecticut, a train crashed into the water after the engineer missed a signal. Pacific turned back to rescue the survivors. The following month, a mast was removed from the ship to reduce weight and drag. Between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. on August 16, 1851, Pacific's crew saw the mast light of the sailing brig El Tarifa on the starboard side, going full sail toward their direction. The officer in charge ordered her pull to starboard and keep the ship at full sail to avoid collision. The brig turned toward the Pacific and rammed Pacific's starboard bow. The forward mast was struck, and the bow of the Pacific was crushed in before the brig sank. An inquiry found that the brig was at fault, and her owners paid $2,000 to the Collins Line for repairs to the Pacific. On the 23rd of January, 1856, Pacific departed Liverpool for her usual destination of New York, carrying 45 passengers, a typically small number for a winter voyage, and 141 crew. Her commander was Captain Asa Eldridge, a Yarmouth skipper and navigator of worldwide reputation. In 1854, he had set a transatlantic speed record on board the clipper Red Jacket from New York to Liverpool, And that was the last time Pacific was ever seen. Just like that. And with that, let's get into the theories. Theory 1 is the only theory we will be talking about in a first for the show, because it is not confirmed, but it's the only theory that makes sense. The iceberg theory. The ship could not have survived a collision with an iceberg due to being a wooden ship. The ice was particularly bad that year, and it was theorized that it could have happened near Newfoundland. It was said that this was Captain Eldridge's second ever crossing on the Pacific. However, it is unlikely his experience contributed to the sinking, as he was known worldwide for his other commands and had been captain on 4 different steamers. Another piece of evidence was the most well-known part of the sinking, a message in a bottle that was found a year after the ship sank in the Scottish Hebrides. The message read, "On board the Pacific from Liverpool to New York, ship going down, confusion on board. Icebergs around us on every side. I know I cannot escape. I write the cause of our loss, that friends may not live in suspense. The finder will please get this published. W.M. Graham." When the passenger list of the Pacific was examined, it was found that there was a William Grand, a British captain heading for New York. Many searches were conducted over the next 100 years, but in 1991, divers claimed to have found the bow of the Pacific in the Irish Sea, 60 miles from Liverpool. Later dives found items dated after 1856. The Royal Commission on the Ancient and Historical Monuments of Wales concluded that the wreck is unlikely to be that of Pacific, which would make sense considering I don't think the Pacific time-traveled after it sank. It has been concluded that the iceberg theory represents the best possible explanation, despite lack of evidence. Eventually, American lawmakers introduced laws requiring the Collins Line to sail at full speed at all times, which caused cost issues, and after the sinking of the SS Arctic, the line went bankrupt, and America would take a long break from the ocean liner game. And that was episode 1 of Unsolved Season 3. Thank you so much for this. I'm so grateful to return to this show, and if this is your first episode, please go and binge the other ones. They are some of my favorite videos I've ever made. But with a message in a bottle, a failed line, and no debris found, the disappearance of the SS Pacific will remain unsolved.